Hi, I'm Anne Marie from Teacher to Teacher Help. In this video, I'd like to share with you another tool for your writing toolkit. In this case, another mentor text that you can use to lift the level of your students' narrative writing, specifically their use of author's craft. So we know that author's craft is voice and word choice. How do you teach your students to add these author's crafts to their writing? Well, I want to introduce you to a book by Lester Laminack, and it's called Cracking Open the Author's Craft. In this book, Lester Laminack takes a look at a book that he wrote, a picture book called Saturdays and Tea Cakes. Saturdays and Tea Cakes is a memoir from a time period in his life when he was a young boy. Every Saturday, he would go to his grandmother's house and he would cut her lawn, and then they would make tea cakes together. So author Lester Laminack wrote this book, and then he wrote this as a companion guide for teachers, for writing teachers, to show the specific crafts that writers use intentionally in their writing. Lester Laminack said, writers aren't haphazard in their use of craft. They are intentional. They plan out the crafts that they're going to use. Cracking Open the Author's Craft is where he shows us how he does that as a writer, and then in turn, we're able to teach that to our students. So in this video, I'm showing you how you can create a tool for your writing toolkit, and I want to show you how I took Lester's book, Cracking Open the Author's Craft, and turned that into a tool for my toolkit. If you've watched any other videos in this playlist, you know that I like to tab up mentor text with the qualities of strong writing. So the qualities of strong writing are structure, development, and conventions. The one that I'm going to focus on in this video is development, but specifically author's craft. I have another video on elaboration, adding details, so you might want to check that video out as well. So this one is author's craft. And Lester Laminack in his book identifies 14 different kinds of author's crafts. And in his book, he calls them audible craft and visual craft. So what I did after reading this book was went through his book, Saturdays and Tea Cakes, and read through the lens of all of these different authors' crafts. I found examples of them in the book. It wasn't too hard because his book is filled with great authors' craft, and he also explains it in this book. I'll put a link to this book in the description below in case you're interested in taking a look at that. But let me show you how I turned this into a tool. So you'll notice that all along the side, I have all of these tabs. So what I did was looked at the 7 audible crafts and the 7 visual crafts and found examples. You'll see some of them are things like using brand names. So being specific with brand names or being specific with proper nouns, repetition of a specific phrase, using similes. So on each of those pages, you'll find an example of each of those. Now, something that I did in one of the other videos is showed you how I use these little tabs here to mark the spots. I haven't done that in this video yet, or in this book yet, but what I need to do is go through each one of these and then just mark the spot so that quickly, like this one is being specific with proper nouns. This one's actually pretty easy because you see lots of proper nouns here, but I could mark those so that my eye is quickly drawn to it in a conference. What we want to do when we're using mentor text is not just show students examples, but also talk to them about why. Why would an author, in this case, use a proper noun as an author's craft? Well, it's because the author is trying to create a sense of time and place. And by using the specific names of the names of the streets or the name of the school, even though I, as the reader, aren't familiar with those specific names. It's by not being generic, by being specific. I just with the names, I'm able to visualize that so much better. So the author is trying to paint a picture for me. He's trying to create a movie in my mind, and he's doing it intentionally by using that craft. So you'll see that this book is tabbed up with so many different author's crafts here. So I invite you, as you are reading aloud a book to your students, just start to notice those different author's crafts. Then pause, go through and find examples of them, tab them up, and then put this favorite book in your writing teacher's conferring toolkit. And then when you are having conferences with students, you won't have to just tell them. You can teach off of a mentor text and then invite them to transfer that, try it in their own writing.